G. And Juham Josh.
Unë jam Elda.
So that was good evening. My name's Josh and this is Elda. Okay.
In Albania.
In Albanian. Thank you all for coming, taking your time to be here. And thank you for those who were part of the wedding celebration, for all your support, for all your prayers, for the gifts as well. That's going to help us in our ministry in Albania. Thank you for being here. And tonight we're going to learn some about Albania, the country, the culture. Also, we're going to talk about our ministries there in Albania. And Elda's going to share with her story as well. We're going to actually start talking about the country and the culture of Albania. So for those of you who don't know where it is, I'm just going to bring up a map on here. Okay. So there's Europe, and we have Italy here, if you can see that. Okay, over here is Greece, and it's pretty close to Turkey here too. This is Turkey over here, and Albania is right here. Okay, so we're going to zoom in here. We're going to go right into where we live, the exact location. We slowly go in here. I'll stop that there. A lot of words on the screen there. But to the east is Macedonia, south is Greece, Montenegro is to the north, Serbia, and Bosnia, and how do you say that?
What she said.
And Croatia are over here as well. So we'll zoom in a little closer. Yes, Kosovo is northeast Albania. So Tirana is the capital here. This is the Mediterranean coast over here on the left. And you can explain a little more than I can too about the geography if you want to. Okay. And we'll go right into the city, which lies next to the mountains. So earlier you might have saw a picture of this is the city Tirana. We know this area pretty well. I mean, I know this area pretty well. You know way more than I do. This is Mount Didy over here, and it's I don't know. Yeah.
And only there it snows.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yes. So we do not get snow in the city in winter. The average temperatures in winter are around what they are right now in Canada. So
This is February.
yeah. Yeah. So this is the mountain, and I'll go back to the map. So we have that view, which is very nice. We can go up in the tall tower sometimes and take a look at the mountainous area. And also close by is the water on the sea, but it's a little bit dirty over there too. So we're right here, downtown, in the central region. This is called the UNAZ, which means ring road. I also had to buy an UNAZ for you before we got married. So we live right around here, and the church is about 25 minutes by walking down a little further. And we'll talk about where we work as well. And the culture and what it's like. I'll let Elda talk a little bit more about that if you want to. Sure.
Well, you were already introduced with something about the culture, the language. Yes, I'll start a little bit with the language then. I don't know if you've ever heard Albanian before in your life. That was the first time, good. Well, Albanian language is a very unique language, and it's like a unique branch in the tree of the languages. It doesn't come from any other languages, so that's why maybe it's so hard. Albanian alphabet has 36 letters. Some of them, like 10, are combined letters, like D and H or G and J together, but we consider them one letter. And it's easy to read Albanian because we read it as it is pronounced. So spelling, it's not really a problem. Sure. So yeah, Albania, before, I will start with a little history too. Or do you want to talk about?
Yeah, your family history or?
No, but Albania.
Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. So Albania before the year 1990s was a communist country since 1945 till 1990, 91, something like that. So long time under communism, and Albania became a very closed country on its own. And 1960 or something, its leader, Enver Hoxha, the communist leader, declared that Albania was the world's atheist country. So he didn't allow any religion or practice of it whatsoever. So everyone who would be caught practicing it, he would be in trouble. But still, people were very attached to their own religion, whether Muslim, Christian, Orthodox, or Catholic. So they would still practice it in secret, very carefully. But in the early 90s, then Albania became a democratic. The democracy came in Albania, so it was no longer a communist country, and religion and everything was open, and the borders were open for Albanian people to go in other countries with the visa. That was, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was pretty shocked about that. So, to me, this was shocking up until, what was it, 2011? Yeah, up until about 2 years ago, Elda was not allowed to go to any other country except for maybe the ones bordering her without applying for a visa. And that was like, it was kind of shocking to me. It feels like the whole culture, they were trapped kind of in their own country. So
it wasn't impossible to get a visa, but very hard.
But it's not like you can just go across the border. Something that we take for granted over here. It's not like I can take Elda across to see my sister in Rochester because she needs to get a visa for USA as well as England too. But we are thankful because 2 years ago they opened up that so that she could travel in Europe just with a passport. But it's kind of, it was shocking to me. It was different, yeah. So sorry.
So yeah, now we can travel in Europe, and it's a little bit easier. Albania is still trying to go into the European Union because we're not in the EU yet. Hopefully, we will. I don't know what comes with that. If about religion, I was talking earlier about religion, and I also want to say that like about 70% in Albania today, statistics say that are Muslim people. Not necessarily practicing it though. It's like they say I'm Muslim because my parents, my grandparents were Muslim, but not really practicing the religion or living like a Muslim. So, and the rest are Orthodox Christians and Catholic Christians. There's like 1% or kind of evangelical. So it's a big, is still a big need there for the gospel and to go into those people's hearts and share and so that they can accept Christ.
And before we get into Elda's story of her past and coming to know Christ, and also about her mother, you can stop us for questions. We're going to have some question and answers at the end, but feel free to interrupt, and if you have a question already, we'll be glad to take it. Yes?
How do Christians and Muslims and the different denominations amongst Christians get along with each other?
Okay. I'll tell my experience, and you want to tell yours too? Like, oh, okay. From my experience going there, it seems like it's more peaceful. The tolerance, the religious tolerance among different religions there. I feel comfortable going up on the street and telling people that I'm Christian, or if we just start talking, if I'm going to a shop owner and we start talking and they start being friendly back to me, I'm comfortable telling them they're Christian even though they're Muslim, and they for the most part would not be upset or angry or anything like that. There is more of a peace. I find it actually might be even harder sometimes over here among a lot of atheists at university or other places. They would probably be more disapproving of you even here sometimes than in Albania. It's more in the northern end of Albania and Kosovo and
Too deep in the villages.
and the villages where they're a little more focused. So when we took a trip up to Kosovo, that's when it'd be more of you get a little bit of a hesitation and things. Yeah, go ahead.
About the Kosovo, why it's sometimes so hard. It's Kosovo is not part of Albania anymore. It used to be, but now it's not anymore. It was under the Serbs for a long time, and now it's not. It's just a separate country. But because it was under the Serbs and they had a bad experience with their conquest, it's hard to go there and tell them that I'm a Christian because Serbs are Orthodox and they would automatically think that you are an Orthodox or Christian Orthodox, and they would just not accept you so easily because, yeah, they have this enemy feeling. So you can't just go there and say I'm a Christian, like really straightforward. And, yeah, that's why it's so hard in Kosovo, because of that bad experience.
So, and I think also as a foreigner, they are more friendly to me than an Albanian. So, you know, it could be because I'm a foreigner. Also, the younger generation is more atheist than Muslim. It could be half and half actually. So, although they will be patient and listen to you, they might not have any interest whatsoever as well to be willing to come out to church. So it is difficult at times to reach out to them, but they're doing a lot better there with the missionaries there. More and more people are coming to church slowly, and so it seems to be improving from before.
And about Albania, Albania is, I don't know if anyone in here is really into history, but historically Albania was considered as one of the countries that was really tolerant about the religions. So you see in Albania there are many religions, but they live in tolerance. They're not enemy with each other or something like that. Historically, it's like typical for Albania. Historians have noticed this.
Now, I understand that it was Paul that visited the old Albania?
Well, we don't know for fact, but they say that Paul at least walked on the west coast of Albania. Like, you want to show maps?
Yeah.
The tourists.
So, okay, and there's a
Yeah.
Albania?
No, it's just going over here.
Okay. So there is amphitheater.
Do you see that round part like that? That's Durrës, one city that's on the coast. And they think that Paul might have just walked by there in the Adriatic Sea.
Can't remember where the amphitheater is around here. Is that it?
That one, yeah. That's the amphitheater of Durrës.
Try to get it loaded. Okay, now there it is.
This is like,
And there's a the mosque in the background there.
This is since the Roman times. It's really old.
So did Rome was in control of Albania at one time?
Well,
That was thrown by Romans?
when the Romans were, I guess it was Illyria, right? Albania was considered Illyria, that had another name, but you got me there. I can't remember.
Any other questions so far? Yeah. Yeah. No?
I got two questions.
Okay.
Do Christians and Muslims, and like I said, the different Christian denominations, do they live amongst each other, or are they scattered in place? You know, there's a Muslim town, and the next to it's a Christian town. Do they live in the same
Well,
town?
in Tirana, where we live, is the capital city, and the population there is really big, almost going to 1 million. So it's a small place with a lot of people coming from different other cities in Albania. So they are from different religions too. Yeah, I think up north, northwest, it's like more they're Catholics, and then southeast, because Greece is so close, they're Orthodox more, because Greece is Orthodox, and yeah, different than Muslims all over.
But in general, would you say that, like in at least the capital, Christians are kind of mixed in there? There's not like
The
a separate
families.
neighborhood that have Christians or anything
Yeah.
like that.
And it's okay. There are I know families that one spouse is Muslim, the other one is Christian. They have married each other, so it's really no deal.
And your second, yeah.
Second question, when with the fall of communism, is there a thirst for faith, and did people take the new freedom and
Oh, yeah.
pursue that, or was it
Yeah.
left with humanism and just?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were closed. They couldn't go anywhere, and they were trapped in no freedom for all their rights, to practice their rights. So obviously they were eager for hope, eager to know more, especially from the West, and so they were more open. That's when the church grew more in Albania. So that's where missionaries came from many countries, America, everywhere, and they planted churches in Albania, and people were willing, because it was also something new. Evangelism was new in Albania, so different from Catholics or Orthodox something. So,
And Elda is going to share a little bit of the missionary influence on her life in a minute. Is there any other questions that people have so far? Okay,
Were
so
there Muslim missionaries too? Did Muslims come in to evangelize? Well, that's the right term. Did they come in and spread their?
there are mosques, and I'm sure
That's fine.
they have
That's not
other Muslims come and help, I guess, because there are mosques everywhere, and pretty sure they come help as guest speakers, or I don't know how they call them. Not really. Okay, if you want, I can share my story.
Yeah, so, and then after that, we'll just have a quick 3 or 4 minute break so you can have some coffee and some snacks, and then we'll meet up again and we'll share the rest of our ministry and some other things.
Okay. I want to start with how I became a Christian. Thankfully, I'm very thankful. I always had this as a precious thing, that I came to know Christ when I was a little kid, because throughout all the years that I grew up, I was growing up with him and inside a church, and I felt so happy about it. So it was the early 90s, like around 1994. I was about 4 years old. I'm 24 now, by the way. So, my mom randomly met this missionary man named Vaughn. He was American, and like I told you, missionaries came from other countries to plant churches and share the gospel. So that's what he was doing there too. And he had just started his church, and he was helping another Albanian couple who were actually Christian, coming from another city, but they were missionaries, like from another city, and they needed a place to stay. So randomly, Vaughn, the American man, randomly asked my mom in the neighborhood if she knew some place for this other couple where they could stay. And so my mom, after thinking, she said, okay, I'll let you know. And then she asked, of course, my dad. They talked about it, and we lived in an apartment that had really small, like, I don't know, I can talk in terms of centimeters square. You know that? It's like 53 centimeters square, not meters square, sorry. It's 2 times.
Maybe around 500 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, so one bedroom, 1 living room, balcony, bathroom. So we were, I have a sister too, she's 3 years older. And so my mom had this idea that they could just stay for 3 months in their bedroom and we would stay in the living room. Imagine that, 4 people in 1 living room. But so my dad agreed, so they rented that bedroom and they stayed for 3 months there. And it was a blessing because that couple, first of all, was Albanian, which is our people, our culture, they knew better. And they interacted with us and they shared with us the gospel. And the lady, she was a teacher at the Sunday school, and she invited me and my sister to church, and we went there. And that's how my parents also came along, because, you know, parents go after their children, which is normal. And that's how we came to church. And gradually we accepted Christ and we became Christians. So ever since 4, I've been to the same church and I'm serving at that church, not today. So it's a really big blessing, and how all things worked out and how God just meets people, you know, so randomly, and He has big plans that no one can imagine, but they work for His glory, so, and it did work. That's how I came to know Christ. And
I asked you to do me a favor yesterday, okay? I think it was yesterday, the boxes. How did you feel doing that? I mean,
oh, I felt really good. When I was, yeah, I'll share that too. Thanks for reminding. When I was a little kid, like first grade, second grade, something like that, since Albania was still, you know, it was a poor country by then, coming out from communism, so children didn't have many things, or parents didn't have money to provide for them so much. So Christmas, what's the operation? Operation Christmas Child? Yeah. I think that was the same. Different boxes by then. Doesn't matter. So when I was a child, I would receive 1 Christmas box at school and 1 at church. I was lucky. This is, if you can see, I'm a living proof that those boxes do arrive to those children. And what you're doing is a really great thing, because they make the child so happy about, you know, toys and things that they cannot afford to buy, so, or school supplies, and especially also the card. You know, I would really, if you haven't, I would really encourage you to sign your name there, because it will make the box real, alive. You know, they would know that it's coming from an actual person. You know, it's not like a computer or something. So that's how I felt. And my sister, she received 2, of course, at church or at school. And she received one time this box. It was from Germany, from a little girl in Germany. And she had signed her name and her mailing address. And my sister and her kept on mailing back and forth. And it was a really cool thing. So, yeah, it's really a big blessing. And Pastor Valentin, he also helped me to put together 2 Christmas boxes here. So, and I had the honor, the privilege, the blessing to actually write 2 cards for those kids. And I felt really good about that. I shared very briefly the story that I once used to be that child who received the box, and now God blessed me, and I am giving you a box, a child. So it made me feel very good. Like, yeah, it's a blessing.
Some of the work I've done there in Albania, and the future. what we're going to be doing in the future over there. Elda's going to also share what work she does there, and a little bit about, she has a story as well to share at the end before we get into something a little more exciting. I don't know if I should warn you, maybe I should, but for the brave, yes, the brave that want to volunteer at the end, we're going to have an Albanian dance, which they usually do at weddings. We didn't have one at our celebration. So anyone that wants to come up and join us at the end to dance with the music and learn how to do the steps, then you're welcome to as well.
It's not hard.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing there, some of you follow my blog or have read up on some of the work that I've been doing over there in Albania. The organization I've been the most involved in since I went there is called ABC Health Foundation. And sad to say, I actually still don't know what ABC stands for other than the Albanian. I don't even know if it stands for anything, do you? I think it's just ABC. So they actually were established 20 years ago by a Canadian. So I found that interesting. And they contacted, actually I contacted another missionary foundation when I first went there, and they got me hooked up with them starting in September of 2012. So this is their website I'm going to show you here. And you'll see some pictures of the doctors, not in that picture. It's in Albanian. There is an English version, I guess. And it should work because I made it. Okay. So the smaller pictures are the actual nurses and doctors that work in the clinic. So right now, in the last few months, they are actually transitioning from paper to digital, and so my responsibility of a computer background is to make it as computer friendly as possible for the staff and to save time with the paperwork that they have. So this last month I've been working on a form. I don't have to give the details exactly, but I'm designing and making a form for their medical system so that when new patients come into the clinic, they can fill it out in English or in Albanian, and it goes right into the medical system automatically rather than filling out through pen and paper. They'll still do pen and paper as well if they need to. So that's kind of a little bit of a minor project that I'm going to be involved in finishing up when I go back there, as well as a bunch of other computer tasks. So this foundation helps with the community and offers sort of a lower cost solution for some poor families, but at the same time, in Albania, they might not say it's low cost because to them, a $10, $15 visit is still a lot. So, so it still is difficult for some families to afford that, but they have to charge a little bit in order to stay actually afloat. So they're nonprofit, they're just trying to stay afloat. Because there's a lot of laws and regulations, and they find it difficult, but they've been operating for 20 years, so they're doing their best. And I felt that there was a great need there, and that's why I wanted to help out, because I had talent with my computer work, and I felt like I could help them there. So most missionaries go there, and as well, because they speak English there too. So the other organization I did get involved in was Campus Crusade. I don't know if and I had to do some computer projects with them as well. As I learned the Albanian language, I wanted to become more involved with them. They have some camps and things for outreach. And you don't have to speak Albanian to work in those ministries, but over time I want to get more involved with them, but I found more of my time has been involved with this health foundation. Also, just recently, some of you have heard that I'm now teaching a computer class at the missionary high school there too. So most of the missionary kids go to the missionary school, and so I'm teaching grade 9 to 12 2 times a week there to the students there, and they need some help. And it's a small school. They have like 40 students or so, and kind of been rushed in there. But I'm doing the best I can to keep up. And when I return, I'll be starting the classes. They have substitutes right now, but I'll be getting right back into that when I go back. Also, the church, it's called Zanasida Yezisi, is the church that we attend, Elda's church. It's Disciples of Jesus, not affiliated with the denomination here, but it's the same title. And they asked me to be part of the media team there to help out every Saturday. Sorry, we meet on Saturday nights at 5:30 instead of Sunday. And so I've been involved with the work there, and that also involves work during the week as well, preparing for the media for the church, like introduction, PowerPoint, or website things. So I had to put up their website as well. And that is there in Albanian. There is no translation in English because it's an Albanian church for the most part. Missionaries do go there. They have translation with headsets there too, but they don't. It's basically based towards the Albanian population. So, yeah. And from time to time, I could be doing minor projects here and there for missionaries, or taking Albanian lessons, things like that. Any questions so far with any of the work I'm doing in Albanian? Okay.
In the church, is the church more traditional, or would it be more contemporary, or how basically what do you do on a Saturday night?
I feel at home there. So it does resemble the same the vibe and that we have here. I would say that they are pretty much in between Baptist and Pentecostal. So they have worship, they have drums, they have guitar, keyboard, and it's. Do you have anything? Yeah, it's very similar. Theology is the same. They have sermons monthly. They have series, the same way that we do. They go through a series, spend 3 or 4 weeks on a particular topic. So I felt very much at home when I went there. Was greeted by people there, and it helps with the translation that they have too. So
Let me be a little more pointed.
Yes.
Do they tend to be more relational in the way they do ministry, or would they be program driven?
yes, so they're beginning. The pastor wants to reach out more. They do have a bunch of small groups. They've had small groups before, and now this is the next step. Is actually the name of the new season for. So they have a list of small groups. What is that? That represents what is it? Interest? What is it? Lidu is Connect, and that's more the starting small groups, kind of going out to have soccer, and you bring people in through soccer, or it's like an interest group or welcome group. So people that don't know too much about God, they have some small groups focused on that. And then there's the disciple, the growing, which is discipleship, or is that the next one? Yes. So Ritu? Ritu is the discipleship one. It's more focused small groups, people that are involved in the church and they meet. And like, for example, they have a couple small group that they're starting up, so we'll be going to that one too. And they'll have other ones as well. I can't remember all of them. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that type of outreach. They might have events as well outside of the small groups once in a while, but I haven't seen too much of that. But they're pretty relational, I'd say.
They have the couples conference, they have the singles conference, the women's conference too, every year. And we have also the children's group, and they have their own activities. They had a camp for the first time actually this summer, which was a really big success. We were not expecting so many kids. They chose one specific neighborhood and at a school, and they did this 4-day camp. It was good. So yeah, they have.
Yeah.
And so to the story. So how did you end up there?
how did I end up there 3 years ago? Most people don't know the complete story, so I'm just gonna let it all out here. Good luck. So October 2010, I guess it was, that's when I first met Elda on the internet, which is crazy. So I stayed in contact.
Not too surprising for a computer guy.
Yeah, that's true. Not through a dating site, but actually just not that there's anything wrong with that, but through just a Christian chat site. I went on. I've never actually been an internet chat person before, but I decided to go on 3 years ago and start chatting with other Christians and things like that, questions. And Elda, I got to know Elda not too much really. I never thought anything of her other than just a contact in Albania. Wasn't interested in going to Albania or trying to date her or anything like that. And Elda will share her story about her mother, which you are aware of. But about 7-8 months after I met her on the internet, her mother had a stroke and some other issues as well. And that's when we started talking a little bit more. And about 4 or 5 months after that, I had a sabbatical from work for my own health conditions, and I decided to go over there for a month to meet her, take a crazy step, because I thought this girl was very dedicated to Christ, and I really thought that I would be married to her. So as soon as I met her for the first time, I knew that I was going to get married to her. I just don't want to tell anyone else that because they'd be freaked out. So I met her, and after the month there, we decided to keep dating, and enter into a courtship. And I came back. Is that correct? Courtship? I don't know.
Yes.
I came back a month and a half later, and that was my commitment right there. I'm saying, I was like, as soon as I went back, I'm committed to this relationship. So December of last year, we were engaged and got married in May of this year. So that's pretty much the summary of that. And most of the time, I'm okay, but sometimes I'm sure I'm a pain for her. So, but yeah, we're learning every day. Any other questions? No. Okay. So Alda's just going to share about some of the work that she does there, and if we have time, about her mother, and then we'll end with the dance. Okay.
Okay. Well, I've worked at different places, but this year, I'll start with last year actually. Last year, in October, I started work for. Last year. I know. So I started working for World Vision. I don't know if you know, that organization is worldwide. We have one in Albania too. And I worked at the sponsorship department, where I would translate the letters that the sponsors would bring for the children and vice versa. The children would send to the sponsors English and Albanian. It was a really good experience, and I enjoyed doing it. It wasn't too much paid, but I considered it also as a ministry for me. So I just accepted it, and I was glad to do that. But then I was involved with my church. They offered me the work that I'm doing now. I'm a church secretary. Sorry. And I also do I'm like a finance manager too. I take care of the money that comes in church and also is used for the church. That is a good experience too that I'm doing. I started this March, and I'm work there part-time because of too many other things I do too. Taking care of my mother who's sick and other stuff, and being married. So yeah, that one is also since the beginning I considered that like partly a job and partly a ministry too, what I was doing, and that's what I do. I work there from Tuesday to Friday, and then Saturday evening we have the church service where I serve there too with whatever I can do to help, and that is a good experience. And Well, I have only 1 year contract. I hope to continue there. So we'll see what God has after, it ends.
How did you learn the 3 other languages besides Albanian?
Yeah. Well, I speak Albanian, English, obviously, and I speak also Italian and Spanish. Like, not perfectly, of course, but I can communicate at least. I learned Italian and Spanish through TV, watching Italian TV shows, Spanish movies, so with subtitles, and I just learned eventually, since I was a kid. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yo hablo español con ella y el hermano Henry, ¿eh?
Yeah.
Hablo español mucho. Okay, you got the gift, interpret.
It's sort of handy, Elda, knowing the Spanish when you're in this family.
Yeah, yeah.
He can't get away with saying things to you that you don't know what's going on.
Language is really important. When my sister and I, when we were younger, like when we were still single inside our own family, we would speak with each other in English, and it was like our code language for our parents. They would understand. And now I can say the same thing with my other father. Josh does. So yeah, it's handy, yeah. And yeah.
If you want to.
Okay. I also wanted to share the story. Maybe many of you know the story of my mom and that she's sick today. So 2 years ago in August, well, before that, before August, she was diagnosed actually with breast cancer. It wasn't too aggressive, but still the doctor suggested that she, remove part of her breast to just be sure, and follow up with, whatever would come next, chemotherapy and other stuff. That was a really hard time. It was really a big surprise for us when she discovered her lump in May, and we were shocked, kind of. But I believe she was more shocked, even though she's a tough woman and very strong. But I think she would just not let her emotions out and tell us how she really felt, because she was worried about her family, especially about her children, my sister and I. So she just accumulated those feelings inside of her, I guess, and she got stressed and worried. And one day before the scheduled surgery, she had a stroke, ironically. That was another shock, like even bigger than the first one for all our family. And I don't know, it was just like I was living a calm, quiet life with just the worry of school. That was my only worry by that time. And then all of a sudden life changes, in a second, and you can't do anything about it. So she was rushed to the hospital, and we were just, I think I spent like 2 weeks in shock. And I think that was partly a blessing that I wasn't that shocked, because I could help more, being like my emotions were frozen for those weeks, and I was able to serve and help Mom and help the rest of the family. But then, also I started having my meltdowns, and it was hard for me and for all the family. She spent 25 days at the hospital, and the hospitals back in Albania, the ones that the government provides, are for free for the citizens, but the conditions are really bad. And one problem that Albania faces, and that has kept her so behind the rest of the world, it's also the corruption. There's a lot of corruption in Albania, like in almost every sphere, every area of life, and especially in medicine, in medical. So it was hard to receive the right service from the nurses, from the doctors. The doctors were okay, but patients were more in the hands of nurses on a daily basis. they would take care of the patients more, and that was a hard part. I had learned kind of to become a nurse myself. They would allow me inside there just because they wouldn't do the job they were appointed to do, so I would do the rest. And that was hard for me and my sister to take care and spend the nights there in the hospital. And in Albania summer, so hot, with a small fan. And yeah, that's the hard part about the hospital. When she was back in the at home, she couldn't move. She would just stay in bed, laying down. Her right side of the body was paralyzed, and she couldn't speak. She lost her ability to speak. So slowly, we were blessed to have to know people and missionaries. They had contacts about, for other nurses. They were more experienced, or for physical therapists that helped us, and so they came and helped us with therapy for my mom. And so she started a little bit to move slowly. Her leg, now she can walk with the walker. Of course, we would hold her a little so she doesn't fall, but she can walk a little bit by herself. Her arm is still, it doesn't move at all. And her speech, she would just repeat words that we'd say, but she would not, speak on her own or carry on conversations. She has memorized maybe 2 or 3 words or short sentences, but that's it about it. The amazing thing is that she can sing the songs with full words, and we have a great time with her when we get all together and we worship the Lord and we sing songs that she still remembers, and she can actually sing them, and that's the most amazing time that we spend with her. And also one amazing time is when she prays. She just, say meaningless words. I wouldn't understand what she says, but she prays. She loves the Lord with all her heart, and I'm pretty sure she continues to pray to the Lord for herself, for her family, and she has prayed for Josh. She's prayed for my brother-in-law back in Albania, and for it, before, and Lord has answered her prayers, and even in the midst of all this, hard times, He has poured blessings upon us, and He has been, and He is faithful to us. So,
Yeah, sure.
and also my mom. Nothing?
We can't hear you.
They're speaking in Albanian just for you.
My mom, even before stroke, when she was fine, she had this favorite song, Albanian Christian song, and she would sing that at home very often, and she would pray, and when she had her time with the Lord. And when she had the stroke, I was holding her hand the very first day, and I was praying hard, repeatedly, her song about the Lord, and some verses say that you were, and in better words, I can't remember.
It says,
For better, for worse, or when we're fine and we're in danger, don't be afraid because God is with us. And I was just kept singing this, and she actually squished my hand at that moment, and I just felt that she knew God was there, and I just wanted to share this with you. It was helpful. Now we're gonna.
Okay, so thank you all for coming. In the future, we're going to continue to need your support and prayer, and thinking of us. And we appreciate all that you've done, all your blessings and your prayers so far.
Actually, Alice is going to the mission field next Monday.
Okay.
Alice, would you come
Okay, sure.
and pray for them also? And anyone else that would like to surround them?
we have heard your heart through this couple tonight. And God, you see that what they're bearing on their heart to you. They're trusting in you. And we trust their young lives into your hands, mighty God. You have a mighty work to be done. Oh, mighty God, just bless them. Pour out your finances that they need. Lord, may they always be looking to you, knowing that you are leading them step by step. God, we hear about the agenda they have, and it seems so full, so busy. But God, they're going to go forth with the joy of the Lord.
That's right.
The joy of the Lord and the presence of the Lord. And your rewards will be great. Your rewards will be great in the natural. And you will pour out. You will pour out from hearts of love what Jesus intends for you to do. Thank you, Jesus, for the blessing.